Humans have always wanted to find out how matter and life have first started on Earth and how the first human being came to existence. This question was tackled by both science and religious tradition for thousands of years. From the scientific perspective, the current view is mainly based on the theory of evolution, which claims that human beings came to existence through an evolutionary process of natural selection and genetic variation. This process started in water after the formation of the first living cells and took millions of years. This theory was developed by Charles Darwin during the 19th century. It was later refined in the 20th century through a synthesis with advances in genetics, paleontology, and other scientific disciplines. For Abrahamic religions, the answer to the question of creation is found in divine revelations. For instance, in Islam, the Quran says that God created Adam and then from it made its mate, 7189, but Eve is not mentioned by name. Therefore, many Muslims believe that all human beings came out from the offspring of Adam and Eve, 4913. Christians also have a belief of separate creation of each individual species by God, which includes human beings. In fact, the details of the first creation in the Bible is much more comprehensive than the Quran that leaves little room for any different interpretations. As these are two different perspectives on the origin of species and humans, this created a long-standing debate since Darwin wrote his book in 1859. Many followers of Abrahamic religions initially rejected evolution, believing their holy books already provided the correct explanation for life's origins. Others who see science as the most trusted authority believe that evolution is accurate with the provided evidence. Indeed, this was another manifestation of the conflict between science and religion that began during the Renaissance. The Church had long maintained power through religious authority, but emerging scientific perspectives began to challenge its monopoly on knowledge while giving some people grants to question religious beliefs entirely. In the case of origins of life and species, scientific explanations backed by evidence led some to conclude that an external creator is unnecessary, implying the absence of God. Consequently, evolution became a useful tool for those not believing in God to support their positions. Even a new movement referred to as New Atheists emerged promoting this position in the early 2000s. These developments also affected Muslims in a similar manner, although the debate around evolution started much later in Islam compared to Christianity. As a result, many Muslim believers came to view the acceptance of evolutionary theory as fundamentally incompatible with their faith in divine creation and God's existence. Some completely rejected evolution, fearing it would push younger generations toward atheism. However, as evolutionary theory is the main element of modern biology taught in high schools and colleges in the West, this ongoing debate has created significant confusion and frustration for new generations of Muslims living in these countries. The problem is mainly rooted in misunderstanding the goal and methods of science in general and the theory of evolution in particular. Without discussing whether the theory is accurate or not, Muslims can be confident that this is not a debate on whether God exists or not. The theory of evolution does not aim to prove that God does not exist. The major point here is that these two explanations belong to two separate domains that should not compete. One domain is revelation that relates to believing without empirical evidence. That's why it is referred to as faith. The other is the scientific domain, which utilizes observations, empirical data, and logical reasoning. From observation and empirical evidence, hypotheses are formulated, tested, discarded, or supported, and scientific theories in the universe are constructed. The theory of evolution is a scientific explanation with its own evidence coming from various disciplines and is internally consistent. Indeed, biology, genetic analysis, studies of geographic distribution of plants and animals, comparative anatomy, embryology, and paleontology all support the conclusions of the theory of evolution. When one would like to propose an alternative view to the current theory of evolution, it needs to be also based on a scientific approach and must challenge the knowledge in all fields of science mentioned above. In this context, alternative approaches based on revelation are not considered as scientific and thus are rejected by science. This does not mean that they are not accurate. It just means that they are not testable utilizing scientific methodology. Hence, they cannot be proven or disproven from a scientific perspective. It is important to understand that in science, theories may be challenged and revised as new discoveries are made. However, currently, this theory of evolution is the most accurate, consistent, and comprehensive narrative of how species emerge and will stay so until a new scientific approach challenges its findings purely from a scientific point of view. Independent from the discussions about its content, one can believe this evolutionary process was guided by God, and its complexity demonstrates the sophistication of His creation. Indeed, There are such explanations, namely theistic evolution or intelligent design, which bring forward the role of God in the evolution of species. But again, these claims are not testable and thus not considered as an alternative to the theory of evolution. They must remain in the domain of faith. As a summary, a Muslim may believe in God while also accepting the theory of evolution, as they belong in two different domains and are not directly comparable. It is also to remember that science cannot prove or disprove the existence of God. This is not within its objective. Thanks for tuning in, and if you found this helpful, please like, share, subscribe, and consider donating to the support channel. Thank you.